Welcome to Forever Talking, where we talk nothing forever. My name is Ian Moore, and this is my co-host Nicholas. And today we are joined by music marketing extraordinaire. He is the CEO, owner, creator, founder of Innovo. Yeah, every label you could possibly think of an incredible music marketing agency in Nashville, Innovo Music Marketing. I am joined here by Sam Saideman. How you doing today, sir?
Doing well, Ian. Thanks for having me.
This is a pretty important episode, and we're excited about it. I believe this is episode 7, if I'm correct. I can't remember.
It's something like that.
Yeah, we're just rolling. We're just rolling these off as much as we can. Typically, we like to yell at football teams a lot on the episodes or whatever we do, but today we're going to talk a lot about music. As everybody knows, I am a music, connoisseur, artist, whatever the word is.
Up and coming artist.
Sure. And Sam, in my music career, we've been working together for 2 years, something like that. I'd be in the mud if it wasn't for this man who is currently on the picture below ours. I think, if I don't know how this is going to lay out whenever we're done recording, but it's going to look good. This is going to be a really interesting episode, and I'm extremely excited to learn more about Sam and learn more about Innovo and how things have been working behind the scenes and stuff like that. Something I didn't know, I've been working with you for a couple of years now. Something I didn't know up until recently, not too recently, but a couple months ago at least, is that you were originally from London, right? Is it London?
Yep, from Northwest London.
That's crazy. Because whenever I met you, we met on it was a consolation meeting, right?
Yeah, consultation.
Yeah, and you had no accent at all, so I was just kind of like, all right,
yeah,
dude's just from Nashville.
Yeah, it's my sleeper fact. No one knows I was born there and raised there, but I moved to America when I was 7, almost 8, to New York City. So I've lived in America most of my life. My accent was gone by the age of 13, maybe. But yeah, at one point I had a British accent. My parents have British accents, and I became a citizen during the pandemic.
I think I saw something like that. Is that you became a citizen recently? Do you still got family over there?
Yeah, my cousins, my grandma, aunts, uncles, the whole thing. So it's just my parents and siblings in America.
How many siblings you got?
I have an older brother and a younger sister.
Your brother, he does I think I saw something
film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's
one guy.
He's a freelance cinematographer. He's based in LA, so he does a lot of music video stuff. He shot some stuff for JID, J. Cole, Future, Skrillex,
Good Lord,
Bishop Briggs, a bunch of other stuff. And then my sister actually moved back to London a couple of years ago. My younger sister, and she's a graphic designer.
So the whole family's kind of in different.
I'm the least creative, believe it or not.
That's actually kind of insane, because whenever I talk to you, it seems like you kind of have everything about the music industry kind of figured out. There's so many.
They come off like that. I appreciate that but as a sentiment, but no, I mean it's evolving every day, and it's wider than anyone ever thinks and deeper than anyone ever thinks. But yeah, learning. I mean, I try to spend every day trying to learn something new and digging in and trying things and breaking the norms. I think this industry is so outdated that people sometimes just accept the way things work as the commonplace, and it doesn't need to be like that.
Right.
Speaking specifically on major label deals and those kind of things, it's these are systems that only now we as a society or we as an industry are starting to dig up and change, so
yeah, for
us it's always just trying to adapt,
and it's something new every day. Remind me again, how old are you again?
I'm 29 as of last week.
29. So you've been in the States for not too long, and you've already started creating this incredible company it hasn't been going on for that long, but has found pretty incredible success thus far.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, we launched in 2014 when I first moved to Nashville. But I was in school as a transfer student, and then I was working at a label services distributor called 1RPM, and in between there was at Sony on the publishing side and at a music venue. So jumped around a little bit while pursuing a Novo on the side, and then June 2nd, 2018, I went full time for myself. So since then, it's been all steam ahead.
So this is, at this point in time, it's a career. You can make a living just basically doing this, right?
Yeah.
And that's there's something that is said about moving to a completely different country and then creating a company that's self-sustainable for you to live. And that's like,
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's the entrepreneurship thing, and it's something that's super interesting. Did you always enjoy music? Like, when was like the point in time where you were kind of like, this is what I want to do?
Yeah. This story is gonna sound corny, but it is my story. So when I moved to America, I fell in love with hip hop music and just like the culture behind it and how it was adjacent to all these other worlds like fashion and art and and dance and all these other things, and got really deep into like the battle rap scene in New York with like grind time and all these things going on, and just like started making my own music and freestyling in parks and stuff, and just fell in love with creating. At 17 years old, I signed like a label deal, which I now understand as a single album licensing agreement, but at the time I thought it was a full-blown record contract. And the money never came that was agreed upon in contract. So tried to sue and seek attorneys' helps, and basically just through that realized like I was less interested in being an artist and more interested in being in something related to marketing and sales. And then took a couple of years off and was just sharpening my general business background. So I was doing like door-to-door sales and real estate investing and a couple of other things, social media, and met a guy at a dog park in Atlanta. And I was like, it kind of hit me like a few weeks earlier that there was a business side to the music industry that wasn't just built on nepotism. So like your dad was a label exec and thus now you're in the music industry. And I met this guy at a dog park, and I was talking about how I wanted to go back to school and learn about the music business. And he told me about Belmont, which is where I ended up going, in Nashville. And like 2 months later, I packed my bags and moved. So pretty quick transition. And then within 3 months of being in town, I started throwing shows in town and started managing baby artists because I was a baby manager, and just built from there.
So it just kind of, once you kind of knew, you knew. Like, yeah, I mean, that 2 weeks is not a
2 months, but yeah,
2 months.
I'm a big proponent on like, you just got to dive head first sometimes in life, like especially with business stuff. It's like while you're ideating and trying to figure out a point of attack and how you're going to be different stuff, like someone else is already doing it and taking up all that market share. So for me, I'm not ready, aim, fire. I'm ready, fire, aim. You can spend your whole day planning, but you just got to get in and learn and pivot accordingly. And, it's taken us 8 years or so, a little over 8 years to like really develop who we are as a business. And a lot of changes happening in 2023, just like a lot of changes in 2022. And the company is evolving and becoming something well beyond what I envisioned it would be in 2014, and moving into worlds that we never thought we'd be in. And so, like, I think you just have to jump in and pivot accordingly.
Yeah. And I mean, I've heard you say that phrase a lot. It's not what was it again?
It's not ready, aim, fire. It's ready, fire, aim. Actually, believe it or not, that's the one lesson that I ever learned in college right there. That sentence.
I'm still waiting for like my lesson. I'm a senior in college, still haven't caught mine yet. I don't think I'm gonna
that has stayed with me for 10 years. That phrase, I use it all the time. And it was said by a professor in music business 101. He was like a country artist in a group that was pretty big, and he was teaching on the side. And that phrase has stayed with me literally my whole career.
I mean, I think you've said it to me in Chicago, and I've seen you say it I think TikTok and some other things.
You got to roll your sleeves up sometimes and just get it done,
And
it's like
Yeah.
Of course, that's not to say like don't plan. Of course, plan and
Yeah.
think through things, but like don't. Sometimes like you can plan till you're numb in the fingers and your brain is not working anymore, and then
Yeah.
someone else has already done it, and you could have been first mover, first to market if you just buckled down and got it done.
That is one of the bigger things about our industry, the music industry, is that you just kind of have to do it. And
Yeah.
even like as far as like performing and stuff like that, like 2022 has been an interesting year for me. I did the January show in Colorado. I did the Chicago show with you, Danny, and Michael. I did the hometown show in September. Now this coming up, we'll talk about it later, but the one this month. And it's like the more I think about it, is like more wild it gets. I got into a car and drove to Colorado to do a 5-minute set on
Yeah.
a futuristic show. And it's just like and it was about that experience. It is about
Yeah.
making the connections. And as long as you just jump into the cold water, I mean,
Yeah. Sink or swim, right?
you get warm. You get warm to the
Right.
water.
Right.
Which is what I tell Nick all the time. He's got a concussion right now, and I
Mm.
tell him, he's got to play some soccer with us again, so we can.
I did. I got in there.
Yeah, finally. Sorry,
Hmm.
it's unbelievable. We have an indoor team, and me and Nick, we got this special connection. I just always find a way to put the ball at his feet. But then he left me for 2 years because he got this concussion nonsense. He hasn't been back since. So I've just been ripping on him nonstop.
Gotcha. I actually just took off I've been playing on a outdoor team.
Yeah.
And then moves to indoor for the winter. But I've been playing on a team here for like 4 years where I captain it and just like we recruit if we need to replace people. And I took off for this winter indoor season just because I'm traveling so much that I was going to be here for 2 of like 10 matches. So this is actually my first season not playing in like 4 years.
Oh, it's brutal, man. It's brutal. Once you go like 2 weeks without it, I've been playing like consistently because I played soccer my whole life on club and with pretty much all the friends that I have now. And then I played a year in high school, and then I went and moved to indoor, which is my brother's team. So it was me and then a bunch of like older guys like my brother. So it was like easy.
Yeah.
And then over time, I went to college and then gained a lot of weight. And then I was like, oh, so this isn't as easy as I remember it being.
Happens to the best of us, man.
I was like, these guys are like kind of faster than I remember now.
Yeah. That's when you switch positions.
Yeah. So I was a striker originally. Now I'm the greatest defender in the game. But
I did the opposite thing. So I played New York State as a youth, and I played sweeper. And I was super fast, super aggressive, and then broke my ankle in a match in like 3 places. They had to drive the ambulance onto the pitch, put me on an IV on the pitch, and like wheel me out and drive to the hospital. And then years later, I had like major hip pain in high school because I had rehabbed back in and I was playing again, and then started getting this hip pain because when I broke it 5 years earlier, I had snapped the growth plate. So my legs were growing at different speeds. And so years later, I had all this hip pain. So I had to get surgery. So I have 2 plates in my left knee and a screw in each of my ankles now. So for years I didn't play. And then I like had to relearn how to walk without a limp, the whole thing. And it took like 8 months, 9 months, and then years of just like playing alone and trying to rehab. And then when I went to Belmont, I actually I didn't try out for the team, but I tried out for their club team because it's a D1 school, so the club team's still really good and still has tryouts, and I got to play in that. But I switched to striker, and so now ever since then I play back to net striker because I just can't play defense anymore. Just like mentally, after I broke my leg, I can't disassociate.
Dude, I was lucky enough like throughout my entire, I guess you could say, career. I never had like a major injury like that. I've broken fingers, tore my quad, concussions, the whole works. I slipped my growth plate out of my heel, had to play the rest of the season. Terrible. But like I think like the most recent injury I just had that kept me out of the game for like 4 weeks. And that's how I like sat there and I was like, God, it kind of sucks not playing soccer.
Yeah.
I had a potential MCL tear or meniscus, whatever it was, and then patellar subluxation, which basically means like my kneecap would slide in and out of place. It's gross, man. It was terrible. It was trash. Yeah. And then I had to come back, and I was like, I mean, obviously, like I have to be the best, it's just what it is. Yeah. And Nick, like, and it's like with the concussion thing, I don't know, you're a soccer player, so I'm sure you've had your fair share of concussions. Nick got one like 2 years ago, and he's like still kind of recovering from it, man. It's terrible.
Oh yeah.
He just started playing with us again a couple weeks
What kind of effects are you like still seeing from that?
I got like bright lights. My focus is very bad. Stuff like that.
Do you was it a pretty bad concussion in terms of how concussions go?
I mean, I don't really know that much about concussions, like, because I've only had 2, I think. But like when it first happened, it like tapped me in the eye. Like, most people get knocked out. I just got like tapped, but
it wasn't anything. It was like a ball that he just flipped on with his head.
It was from whiplash, though.
I'm guessing it was just the whiplash of a head ball. And
I got like a scary. I've never been to a hospital and they're like, yeah, you had a concussion. But I in an indoor match. Do you remember when Nashville had that tornado?
Yeah,
a couple years ago. So that night I had an indoor match, and in our indoors, like the keeper can like throw the ball the length of the field, like they're pretty small. And he threw the ball, and I was standing at the top of the box, and I tried to flick it backwards into the net, and the keeper came up and threw a punch and just socked me in the back of the head, and I just flat out cold. Yeah. And I came to, and everyone, like the ref was standing over me. People were like squirting water in my face. And I like sat on the bench with like a migraine for like 2 or 3 minutes. And then I just stupidly played for the rest of the night. And then I drove home. No one was with me. So I drove home.
Oh my God.
It was a late game. It was like 10:30. It ended. I drove home like half delirious. And then I stayed up all night because I was like, oh, maybe I have a concussion. I should stay up. And I stayed up, but like the bright lights were like gnarly. And that's the night we had the tornado. And it went like just past my street in East Nashville. And my girlfriend at the time, now fiance, was calling me like nonstop because she was following it in the news from the other side of town, and it was like 3 a.m. and she was just calling me like over and over. And I was awake, but I like the lights from the phone, I couldn't fathom it, so I kept forwarding it to voicemail. So she thought I got swept up. But yeah, that's like, I've never had like a diagnosed concussion like that.
I got one. Yeah, Nick's is the worst I've ever seen. I mean, like, obviously you got like guys who are, who can't ever do it again. But like, I've never seen like, cause I've gotten, I don't know, a handful. Like, and it's been like a week, bright lights, no go, staring at a computer, can't do it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then like next week you're good. So every week, like Nick was all fucked up. And I was like,
it was like 5 weeks.
I was like, just get your ass back into soccer. Come on, let's knock this off. And like, it's funny you tell that story about the keeper. Like that was how you got your concussion. I got one too in a soccer tournament. Except it was my keeper who punched through my skull. Asshole.
It's shit's scary.
Yeah, dude. I was like clearing a soccer ball, and our keeper Jacob, God love him, fucking just came through right through my head. I was like, bro, I would have had it. Like, it's fine. And then my dad, who was my coach, he was like, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and play the rest of the season. And I was like, okay. Oh, dude, it was gnarly. He didn't know I had a concussion at the time. It was like a tournament. It was an out-of-town tournament. We came back.
Yeah, classic.
So it's just my dad, how he was. I remember my brother, like, he broke his nose, and my brother, like, was crying, ran over to my dad on the sideline. He was like, Dad, my nose. My dad was like, fuck, let me see you. Crack, snapped it back. And he was like, all right, go in. Oh, dude, gnarly.
I never had anything like that before a game. I was grabbing my bag out of the trunk of my car for a game. My dad was the assistant coach, and he slammed the trunk shut, and my four fingers were still in the trunk, but it didn't bounce off. It straight up just fully closed with my fingers still in the trunk. And when we got it open, my fingers were so swollen, but I like went straight into like putting my boots on and playing. So I just played with like a fucked up hand for that was I've never had any like like the broken nose thing is crazy. I've never had anything like that from a game.
Yeah, I think I broke it once or twice. It's just you play. It's just, and
Yeah.
that doesn't happen anymore. I don't know if you've seen like kids.
Oh yeah.
I
The
got
World
a,
Cup.
oh dude.
Soft.
My dad was like, did you see Neymar's coming back? And I was like, who cares, dude?
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
cares? He got
Saw him
smoked.
score a pen today.
Did he score? Did he score today?
Yeah, he scored a PK.
That aggravates me, dude. I'm happy that they took Ronaldo's goal away from him. I mean, I
Yeah.
love him, but I'm a Man U guy. I've been a Man U guy since I was a kid.
Yeah.
He kind of tried to burn the club down a little bit on his way out, which
Yeah.
I
He's
mean,
apparently going to a Saudi Arabian team.
I saw that.
I
They
think
were
I
gonna
saw
pay
today
him.
for like 200 mil or something.
I wonder if he actually does
much?
do that.
200 mil salary a year. I thought I read
Yeah,
It's
something
crazy.
something like that. Yeah.
Could you imagine making that kind of money week to week? What the fuck?
He's like 40, right?
I think he's like
38,
37. Yeah.
38, 38.
Wow.
He's just not a good player anymore either. Like
No,
he's the
dude.
difference maker, but he won't do the work. Just put the ball at his feet and he'll make
I
it
mean,
happen. But
I mean, like I defend on United. I defended him for a while because
Yeah.
I was like, I don't understand why he sits. So obviously, like that's what the manager wants to do. He wants to create a team that's more pressure. And
yeah, you guys are. But I'm a diehard Arsenal fan.
I know.
Right?
I know.
And
Yeah.
there's a clear difference in strategy right now, right? Like,
Yeah.
Man, you are signing guys in their late 30s. We're signing guys in their teens and
Yeah,
building
dude.
with them. There's a completely different approach.
Oh,
We're taking the long game approach, and look how it's working on the
Oh,
table, right?
I'm
Like
aware. Our club's a
Yeah.
mess. Like just flat out.
But you just need the right coach to like come in who's like not trying to immediately like become a title contender and just like build over 2-3 seasons.
I like how Ten Hag's been doing it so far. He's kind of he's leaning a lot. That's why Ronaldo sat a lot because he's
Right.
leaning on the younger guys like Rashford and
Yeah.
and Gakpo. He wants Gakpo now, and I love.
Don't we all?
Oh my god! Oh my god! I love.
Well,
Lisandro
Gabriel
Martinez.
Jesus like messed his knee up yesterday, so he's out for like 3 months now apparently. So
Good lord.
we're going to be signing someone in the summer. I mean, in the winter.
Did you so the question as I have for you is, you're from England and now you live in the US. When you're watching the World Cup, who
I root for
do you
England. I root for England as a first and the US as a second.
So you're
So when they're playing each other, I want England to win, but I support each of them in their own pursuits separately.
Yeah. England just smacked up
Senegal.
Yeah, Senegal the other day. That was
Now we got to play France. So yeah.
I don't know.
That's the end of our run, most
likely. No, you don't know. You could just have
unless Mbappe gets COVID this week.
Hey, you have what's that dickhead's name that we sat him on?
Harry Kane?
No, defender.
You sat him on Man U.
Center Maguire.
Oh, Maguire. Blockhead Maguire.
You got Maguire. Yeah, he'll protect you. He'll stop
Center
Mbappe.
blockhead.
Don't even worry about it, dude.
It's gonna be a Kyle Walker versus Mbappe on that wing all day.
Oh man, that's gonna be
brutal.
You might win. You never know.
Never know.
It's soccer. You know, you could just Harry Kane could smoke one in.
I mean, they've lost to worse teams, you know, so it could happen, but it's doubtful.
Now that the US are gone, obviously I've been rooting. I always root for England. I was a big Wayne Rooney fan. So I was always on him for a while.
Yeah.
So England was always, if I wasn't voting for the
Kane's
US,
right behind him on goals for country.
Yeah. Is he?
I think he's like 1 or 2 behind him now.
Well, I hope he doesn't get it now.
Yeah.
I gotta root for.
Doesn't have a lot of a tournament. Doesn't have a long way in the tournament left, but he's still young enough that he'll probably have at least a Euro and a World Cup, potentially 2 of each still. So
I'm interested to see if England gets eliminated. I'm not saying, I'm not wishing that.
Hey, listen, say what you're gonna say.
Who do you think goes on? Who do you think we see?
I think France Brazil is the final.
France Brazil.
I think it cannot be. They're both like just leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, I mean,
but you want to hear an interesting stat I heard today? Mbappe has as many international goals. This could be, it was either as many or like he's right behind. He's like I think he's right behind Zinedine Zidane for like for goals scored. And he's what, 23?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So Olivier Giroud just broke Thierry Henry's France record like 2 days ago or yesterday, whenever that was. And Mbappe in like 2 World Cups, Mbappe will be 10 ahead of them,
Dude, I
the
mean,
rate he's going.
one stat that I saw a couple months ago, whenever Man City got done kicking the shit out of United, was that Haaland, he had like 4 hat tricks in 6 or 7 games.
Yeah, he's like the golden boot leader by a long shot.
Dude, that's insane. How old is that kid? He's
young. I think he's like 22, 21 maybe.
Imagine being 22 years old and fucking kicking the shit out of.
But then his team didn't even make the World Cup.
I know, dude.
So like that's interesting.
I mean, whenever he's your one player. So, I mean, who knows? I'm hoping that Argentina finds a way to get into gear. I think it would be nice.
I just don't see it. Yeah,
maybe.
maybe.
I don't see it either because they don't look very.
Yeah, they don't look. Yeah, agreed.
But I'm a big Lisandro Martinez fan. I just love his 4'11" fury. I love him. I think I like watching that feisty motherfucker.
Fair.
Just shoulder block.
I mean,
people.
He's signed to Man U, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he's better than Maguire.
We lost him in the. We were trying to sign him too.
Yeah, I saw some news today. I don't know if you saw this. Something about Jude Bellingham.
Hurt?
Not hurt. Trying to go to a different team.
Oh, I have been seeing that.
Yeah, God, that would be United's out of the race. That's what I saw today. But hey, if Arsenal got him, just go ahead.
Maybe him and Gakpo.
Pack. No.
We need him now.
You
Our
can
main
have
striker just got hurt yesterday. He's out for 3 months on the Brazil team.
Well, our main striker was Cristiano Ronaldo. So
fair.
That dude, that's a stat that I saw as well. That dude hasn't scored besides a PK in
Ronaldo or Jesus?
Ronaldo.
Yeah.
In weeks.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's not willing to put the work in for the team. That's why he's going to play in Saudi Arabia.
I wonder if he does like sign that deal where he's like, God,
I think he's at the age where it's just a money play now. He's done like trying to break records and compete with Messi.
I mean,
I think I saw 212 mil a year was the offer.
Yeah,
that's salary.
Yeah,
not even to Man U for him. Like Ronaldo's salary to go play in Saudi Arabia.
I mean, guys in Saudi and Dubai, they got money for days, dude. So
yeah,
I mean, I wonder. Yeah, dude. So speaking of soccer injuries, because Nashville, they got the MLS team and they do pretty good numbers. Did you watch that MLS final?
I didn't watch the final. I don't watch a ton of MLS, but we got season tickets for the company this past season, and we just renewed them. So I've been like getting into MLS now through like going to Nashville games and watching the team. But I didn't watch once Nashville got knocked out. I stopped watching.
I didn't watch. I guess I gotta pay more close attention now because now St. Louis has one. Who knows if they'll be good or not? But I flicked on the MLS final. I mean, it was it's typical trash soccer, but they were. It was a pretty good game.
Was it LA, New York? Who was in it?
It was LA and where's Gareth Bale?
Miami? No.
I think he's on isn't there 2 LA teams?
Yeah.
I think
Galaxy and or whatever, LAFC.
I don't know. It was Gareth Bale on one team.
Let me look.
And how about that fucking guy? He was once one of the greatest players of the.
It was LAFC and Philly.
Oh wow. So yeah, Bale's on LA.
He scored. It looks like he scored in
He did.
128th minute.
So this motherfucker, remember years ago, Gareth Bale was like, he was one of the guys, at least top 10 in the world. Now this son of a
Yeah.
bitch, he
He
sat on
looked
the
like shit for Wales.
dude. He sits on the bench
Yeah.
for MLS and then he comes on. So I'm giving my buddy Jacob. He massive soccer guy. His brother played in the MLS. He plays D1 at my school. He'll probably go to the MLS in the future. He's a huge Gareth Bale fan. I give him shit all the time, and I'm like, dude, he's trash. He's washed.
Yeah.
It's over. And then he subs in and puts the most incredible head ball I've ever seen to tie the game, and then they go smoke PKs. And I'm like, that's insane. But the reason I ask you if you
The
saw
difference
that
maker.
game, dude, it's ridiculous. I wish Ronaldo could do that. So the reason I ask you if you saw that final, because it was like an injury, it was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life, is that the defender for LA, I believe, dropped back a trail pass. He was going back to the keeper, misses it short because he's an MLS player. Keeper has to come out to clear it. Striker's coming up to try and take it away. They slide into each other. They don't play the replay. So keeper's hurt, but they didn't play the replay. Commentator's like, we're gonna go ahead and not play the replay on this one for obvious reasons.
Man.
I went on Twitter. Dude's leg is like in half, like in his sock. And that was like the most disgusting thing.
I don't even want to see that or think about that. That's
Bro,
gross.
Those are he looked like Conor McGregor. Like his leg looked like, dude, it was snapped in half. It was nasty. It was gross. And like I'm thinking, like I'm watching this guy get carted off. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'd shove my foot up that defender's ass. I mean, that if you play me a trail ball like that causes me to get my leg snapped in half, you should never play soccer again. But
yeah,
that's just me. I mean, so you're a big soccer guy. Any other sports you're into? Football?
I watch NFL because I'm like, which I didn't ever really get into until I joined a fantasy league. Yeah. And now I'm like super into it every season because of that. But that's it really. I don't really watch a ton of other stuff, a bit of like UFC when it's like a McGregor type thing, a bit of boxing when it's like a Jake Paul type thing. But for the most part, it's just soccer and a little bit and the NFL during when I'm on a fantasy thing.
Yeah.
You got a team in the NFL?
Titans, baby. Tighten up.
Oh, you like the Titans? You like Derrick Henry?
Yeah. He fucked me yesterday.
Yeah, I have him on my team too. He didn't do very well.
Yeah, didn't do very well against them Bengals.
He did terrible.
Huh?
You're a Bengals guy? You guys did well yesterday against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm a big, so same like me. I wasn't really big into football until I got a fantasy team, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And Aaron Rodgers was on my fantasy team. And I don't really care who the guy is in his personal. That doesn't matter. I just like watching. I just like watching him play football.
He's a good dude. He's got a cool personality though. I feel like in his interviews.
I watch him on Tuesday on the Pat McAfee show.
So how I got into it was when I went back to college for the third time up for Belmont. I joined a fraternity there, but their frats are like anti-frat fraternities. They're like, it was like a bunch of dudes in the music industry. Yeah. And like artists and stuff. But a bunch of those guys that I stayed in contact with have a fantasy league called Dads and Dudes. And in order to play, your dad also has to have a team and play. Or like dad adjacent, if like your dad's not in the picture, like an older brother or an uncle or family friend. So I had to convince my British father to make a fantasy football team. And now this is our, I think, 4th season or 3rd season, and my dad's in first by a long shot. Dude, I don't even think he watches.
You just get into it. I mean, it's a fun sport to watch, in my opinion. Cool. Even sometimes, like, and obviously I'm a soccer before football guy.
Yeah.
All day, but sometimes it's even more fun to watch football.
Yeah.
Occasionally. Because I like watching guys get hit. It's fun. So I was always a big Aaron Rodgers fan because that was just because I saw him. He wasn't the underdog, but I saw him as the guy that everybody hated and I thought deserved to win more than he did. So I was always like on him, and that's why I see it with the Bengals as well, as like, oh, they're the Bengals, but like,
right?
They got a lot of guys on that team that I really like, especially Joe Burrow. So those are kind of my teams, and
Love it.
obviously the Packers are kind of dead in the water at the moment, but so I got it's like that. I got two teams. You know, if one's dead, I'll rely on the
How do you
other
feel about? Didn't you used to have the Rams? The Rams are from. Aren't they
one.
from?
Yeah,
Aren't they owned by Arsenal's owner?
it's Cronky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
fucking
think he owns both.
what
And he took it to LA.
what a douche. Now,
Gotta
oh
love
my
it.
god, I hate that dude. That guy's
Yeah.
an ass. He just ripped, dude. He ripped on. I mean, like a lot of St. Louis hates him, and my dad hates him because my dad's he's a radio guy, so he's in the media constantly. So him and Stan Kroenke they don't see eye to eye very well, and it's like we got in a couple of years ago so the Rams left, went to LA, and then Vince McMahon started the Battlehawks. So it's like everybody went to the Battlehawks game, not because I think that they love football, but more of just to tell Kroenke to go fuck himself. Which is
that like that whatever that league is called?
The XFL.
Yeah, XFL.
Now that Dwayne Johnson owns, and we'll see if it succeeds. I hope not. I hope it does, because I'll go to every game. But if it doesn't, I mean, it's hard to start a completely new football league. So
for sure,
it is what it is. But we'll trying to find a nice smooth transition, because obviously we're here to promote something pretty spectacular happening in the next couple weeks. You said you're a Jake Paul guy. You guys went to Arizona for the Jake Paul fight. You and one of your artists known as Danny G here.
Let's go.
Look at
Hell
that.
yeah.
See that?
Love that.
I really just put this on because my hair looked like shit. But then it's kind of like it settled over time. And I was like, this is gonna be a smooth transition. Well, check this out.
I'm gonna send him a photo. Hold on.
I got you.
Maybe I'll send him a video. Maybe that's a cool thing to do in the middle of a podcast.
We're not very professional here. I don't know if you were able to put that together or not.
No.
We're not the most professional group.
Ready? Let me film this.
So,
Danny, you can't hear them because I'm wearing AirPods, but I'm in the middle of a live recording of a podcast. Mr. Ian Moore is wearing your hat.
Why would I forget? Well, why would I not wear his hat? This thing is
He's
stylish.
like, why would I not?
I mean, it's a truck. It's got the netted backing on it, dude. It's got the soft, dude. This hat's incredible.
I just texted him that.
Where's he? Is he based in Nashville too, or is he in LA?
Yeah, he's in Nashville. He's from Denver originally, but he's based in Nashville.
Because it's like, that's a funny story of where I found him too. Is I was fucking just on TikTok, and I found this dude, and I think I showed it to Nick, and I showed it to Amar, who's a buddy of ours, who's like, he's still on my For You page today. Of him and his buddy just doing the my favorite thing to watch is they play the 20 questions thing.
Him and his brother.
Is it his brother?
Yeah, his younger brother Zach.
I watch it all the time because I think Danny's on 11-0 right now, so I stay consistent with it.
Hey,
dude's flawless. I don't know what, like, dude's great at music, and he's flawless at 20 questions too. So the story is I was just on TikTok, as I naturally am, probably too much than I need to be, and I was just watching some shit, and he popped up on my For You page. I have to thank Danny now, because now the word outlandish is a fucking natural vocabulary word in my vocabulary now that I say nonstop all the time. I get a lot of flack for it, because they're like, "Can you stop saying outlandish?" And I'm like, it's just my thing now, man.
Love it.
And then you posted them on your Snapchat or not your Snapchat, your Instagram story, and I was like, huh? So it's just funny how I just found him, and then you're his manager. And then the Chicago show happened, because you guys were on tour with you and Michael, and now we got another tour coming up.
He just replied, by the way, and said, "Fucking legend, ha ha ha," in all caps.
I think he got one of my shirts too. I think I gave him and Michael a
Oh
couple of
yeah.
my shirts. Yeah.
I think Michael's coming to the Philly show.
Nice. I talked to
Coming through.
him. I talked to him a few weeks ago. I asked him a question and he seems to be doing good. Wish he put out more music. I'm waiting around.
I think he's rolling a bunch of new stuff out soon.
Yeah, he sent me a private link of some stuff. He's
Nice. Oh
sounds
yeah.
good, man. Sounds good. But Danny just got off the back of a 35-day tour, something like that. It was pretty long.
Yeah, it was. I think it was just shy of a month. I think it was like July 10 to August 2nd. That's a
Yeah.
rough guess, if I recall.
So you guys wrapped up the tour. Now you're back on, obviously.
Back on.
It's a grind. It's constantly in ground. Before I get into all of that, where did you meet Danny? Like, where did that come from?
I think I was just out of Belmont, and we were offering like hourly consultations to artists where we helped them kind of develop. And we were doing a bunch for this like local pop artist named Katie, and Katie and Danny were homies. And I think she maybe recommended him, if I recall. And I did a couple hourly consults with him. Like he was still a college student, and he was a folk artist by his legal name, went by his legal name. And then I did a couple of those, and then years went by. And then he reached out and he was like, I'm rebranding under this new like pop hip hop outfit, looking to bring on a team to help with like marketing. And so we basically ingested him into our project management side. And I was kind of his point person. And like that's how we made like the Travie McCoy stuff happen and all those different things. And then through doing that, it was just working so well that we were like, we need to just shift this to a real management situation. And then started repping him. And then obviously as time went on, TikTok became a thing and moved into that space and just constantly adapting now.
I mean, he's an extremely talented individual. I mean, just across the board. And it's not even,
Yeah.
I mean, because I remember we were at the show. Of course, my fucking mom was there. It's the most embarrassing shit I've ever seen in my life, dude. She was like sitting there. She goes, "I like this guy. You know, he's good." And I was like, "Jesus, Lisa." So he's not only is he like great at like the rap and the hip hop stuff. Dude bust out the acoustic guitar. Now he's singing Drake covers. I mean, dude's got it all.
I think it'll be a somewhat similar set too. So, and I remember, I think that was the Chicago show. That's the one where the bass went out. The bass on the sub blew right before Danny's set. So his set was like super high end only. So I'm curious. You'll get to see it properly now in St. Louis, which is cool. But yeah, he's just like a multi-talent. Like I think he did jazz choir and when he was a kid, and he can like sing and rap and play guitar, and obviously has like become a whiz at content creation and content strategy too. And I mean, I think that he's extremely talented, but B, he just works extremely hard, which
you got to do whenever you see like
I feel like it's slept on these days.
He posts multiple times. It's his work ethic that blows me away.
That's all he does. That's all he does now is like create constantly. Like that's his job, right? And so like for him, it's like he just obviously like creativity and all those things and talent are huge, but like also consistency and hard work outweigh a lot of stuff these days. And for him, he's got all of it, but he doesn't let up. His foot's always on the gas.
I mean, he's an incredible. Even when I met him, I met him obviously in Chicago for the first time, and he's an incredibly talented person. He's incredibly genuine because I met him. We took a picture, and he was like, "Dude, give me a fucking shirt right now." And I was like, "All right, bet." And it's like he's on my For You page every day, not only but like on my following because I follow him across the board too. So that's something that really. That's kind of hard to do a lot in musicians is to find content to keep posting. That's the reason Nick and I started Forever Talking, because it's not this large recording that we're making right now that I'm more worried about. It's the the fucking TikTok clips that we're going to be cutting it down into that I can also
Yeah.
send to you if you want, that I'm going to be
Yeah.
posting throughout the next couple weeks,
Yeah.
It's just about making content. And he's got so many different ideas and avenues to do it.
Yeah. And it's just the always pivoting
yeah,
thing. Like you look at the pod, it's like they're still doing the same content buckets that they started with, but they're pivoting into new things. Like they now do like the guess the age series, and then they do the 20 question series, and then they do the, all these different things. And I think like that's kind of like what you have to do in the age of short form content, like come up with what your like overall bucket is, and then find little lanes within that and constantly be pivoting to the ones that are working at the time.
dude, I mean, more power to him. And as long as social media is a thing, which it will be, like I'm in my class right now, I'm in like not an entry level, but deeper into an entrepreneurship section in my class. I had to, like, this whole semester I have to write about fuck, I should have chosen Novo. Why didn't I do that? I could have asked like so many questions. I could have just made my homework a lot easier. I chose 100 Thieves. Because it's the social media influencer platform.
Yeah.
That's the future. And he knows that, and
Yeah.
he's doing great with it. But Danny he was on tour with Michael Ways, and now he's coming on tour with another artist who is massive. I mean, this guy grew to the top of the charts, and Sammy Adams. Because I remember, like, you and I were talking back and forth about potentially doing the show a couple months ago, and I was talking to Brett, because Brett, obviously he's gonna do a couple songs with me on the show. And ticket sales, by the way, it's looking good.
Love it.
We're confident in that. So by the way, if you want to go to the show, fucking ticket link's gonna be in the bio. So just go ahead and get yourself some tickets.
Check that motherfucking ticket link.
Yeah, and I got this goddamn I got these hard copy tickets over here, which somebody's got to take more of these things off my hand. Pisses me off. Everybody's like, nah,
you gotta do will call, dude.
Dude,
will call is the cheat code to hard tickets. You sell them by collecting their money, and then you give the hard copy ticket to the person at the door with the name of the person whose hard copy ticket that is.
I didn't know. Can you do that at the venue?
Yeah. Well, you just have to ask if they'll do will call. Like if you can sell them, but then like give them the ticket and the names.
The question is, actually, I might text you after the fact. I don't know.
Yeah.
On the podcast. Actually, I have a. Were you gonna do? Because I know you did this for the Michael and Danny show. Were you gonna do the glow sticks again?
I don't think so. Only because I know I love them, but
I got like
think
50 of these things left over. Do you want me to bring them?
We can do them if we can do them for St. Louis. Yeah.
All right.
The problem is I think Microwaves has them, so we're not touring with them.
Yeah.
For this one, but yeah, we're doing like it's a rebuild tour, as you said. So it's like we're going skeleton crew, bare bones, leaning in. So no, we're not bringing, like on the Waves and Danny tour, we brought like a small lighting package and glow sticks. We're just doing backdrop and no additional lights package, no additional anything. So keeping it bare bones and hungry.
I'll bring the leftover glow sticks that we got, and they'll use it for we'll pass them out, and then Sammy and Danny will have them for their set and stuff. That'll be sick. Because I remember, like, we did the Chicago show, and there was a couple things I learned from the Chicago show. One of them, how to use a fucking mic stand. Because I don't know, Nick's laughing his ass off because fucking there's that video of I'm just on the mic stand. It's just significantly getting smaller on me.
Yeah. Your jokes around it were funny though. You were leaning in.
It's easier with the crowd because it's like, you could just kind of mess around. And I did that with our hometown show too, where we had 200 something tickets sold. The glow sticks were massive hit. I mean, the venue was probably not so stoked about it because we had a bunch of drunk people who left them around, but whatever. Dude, those were awesome. So I'll make sure to bring those for the St. Louis show. But Sammy is, I mean, where did you meet him? How long has he been one of your guys?
How long? I think it might be 2 years.
2 years?
I'm not actually sure on that. Let me see. I can get you an exact answer if you want.
Right. Yeah.
I want to say it was winter 2020, and maybe it's only a year. Sorry, I'm just trying to find
You're
something.
good. Because that's a pretty big guy for you. I mean, he's a super veteran, massive, he climbed the charts, dude. I mean, because I remember when we were talking, like I said, when I was talking, sorry, I fucking drowned off a little bit there. But when we were talking about it, like I was with my buddies and they were like, when do you think about doing a show? And I was like, I might have something in December. Who knows? We're kind of working on it. And they're like, you opening or you headlining again? And I was like, opening up for Sammy Adams. And they were like, fuck, I'll go for Sammy. Fuck you. I'll go for Sammy Adams. So like everybody who's going to the show, like my cousin, like obviously a lot of the people are going to see us, but it was crazy. Like
it's an added bonus.
Yeah, of course, it's I'm Ian Moore, everybody, as the amount of people that were stoked to see Sammy was just unbelievable. And then I told them Danny's on the tour and they're like, Danny, the guy on TikTok who's making me fucking laugh my ass off all the time.
Yeah.
So
love it, man. It's a good package for sure. November 2020, I signed him. So about 2 years ago. So
prime pandemic type shit.
Yeah, peak pandemic. So the story goes, I don't remember when we first got connected, but him and my client Jonas have a song together from years ago called Roll One Up. It's a Jonas song. It's got Sammy and Roscoe Dash on it. And there's a music video, whole thing. It's a dope song if you haven't heard it. But so Jonas and Sammy knew each other. And then I think through Jonas, I had spoken to him a couple times. And then I managed this dude named Zach downtown for a while in New York. And he had Sammy on a track, and then they shot a video together. And so through that, I had been in email groups and text groups with him, and we knew who each other were on social, but hadn't really ever chopped it up. And then when I started my Whiteboard Wednesday series, I reached out to him and I said, hey, I'm doing this weekly Wednesday Instagram live where I interview someone in the music industry and pick their brain. Would you want to be a guest on it? I'd love to have you on to talk about life as an artist who had huge moment and how you build to that and develop your team and sustain that. So I had him on, and then after, I remember he really enjoyed the conversation, and he shot me a text and was just like, yo, that was a dope conversation. I'd love to jump on the phone and tell you about what's going on. And then we just started talking. He was like, I'm looking for new management. And then just 6 months of doing the dance and jumping through hoops for the other people on his team, interviewing with his business manager to see if, I was the right fit, and back and forth on the contract. And then I think, we papered up November of 2020. So probably about June of 2020, we started talking. So it was a long process. And, he's just so humble and tenacious and just wants to get out there and grind. This tour is not financially worth it for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This tour is not compared to what he gets to just show up at a nightclub or what he gets to play at college or things like that. This tour is not worth his time financially, but for him, he just wants to get back out, rebuild, and connect with fans again. So that's what it's about. And you can't rebuild without those foundational thought processes. So he's right there, man. He's just wants to work hard and create.
I think it was last week where him and Danny did a Instagram live. I think you were in it too. And you could just tell by the way he talks, it's not really about the money and the fame or anything about that, really.
Right.
It's just about making music and connecting with fans for him.
And when you meet him, you'll get him, man. He's I go on the road with him. We do a fly day to a college, and we're having brunch the next day, and people are coming up and asking to take photos with him, recognizing him immediately in public. And it's he's just so he's willing to just sit there and have a 45-minute conversation with a stranger. It's not get away from me while he's trying to eat, so he just gets it, and he just is a man of the people. So
it's a very special thing for artists like that who've been to the top of the top,
Yeah.
who, I mean, they don't, they don't see themselves as anything more than just who they are.
He's just grateful for it all. I think that's what's key. Like,
Yeah.
like you said, he's a platinum recording artist. He's collaborated with people like Enrique Iglesias and Mike Posner and B.O.B. and Pharrell and all these other people.
Wow.
And it's like, he's just grateful. Like he recognizes like that's not everybody's experience in the music industry, so he's just humble and grateful and willing to work hard still. So
And
yeah, I mean, we're in the middle of an album or an EP rollout. It's his first independent project in over 10 years after we parted ways with Sony RCA. So yeah, just grinding, man.
that's what it's all about. And that's awesome to see that you guys are doing it. And what was and just want a preference for everybody who's watching this. Go down to the link in the bio, get your tickets now, or else you ain't shit. I mean, that's just what it is. Because you're gonna love this show. And if you're not in St. Louis, if you're in any other dates, do you have a picture of I think I have it. Hold on.
Yeah, we're playing in this is not in order because I can't remember the order, but we're playing in Cleveland, Cincinnati, St. Louis, Nashville, Columbus, Chicago, Philadelphia, and Boston. 8 cities.
If you are in any of those 8 cities, especially St. Louis, because I'm going to be there, get your ass, go get some tickets. You're going to love this show. I mean, you're going to love Danny. You're going to love Sammy. If you're in St. Louis, you're going to love me because, who doesn't? And you're going to meet the man who's on tour, again, this time around. How many tours? Because that was something I didn't expect for the Chicago tour where we set that up. I didn't think
so.
That
Usually,
you were gonna be on it.
Usually how it would work is like a manager is staying at home and handling like creative, marketing, reporting, keeping the ship afloat. And then you hire out a tour manager who's not a part of the team, who's just paid a day rate. And they're going out and doing like the TM role. And they're the ones advancing with venues, like load-in times and run of shows and tech and all the different things. But for some of my tours, just the budget isn't there to get the right TM. So I just go out for free and just do it. So yeah, I'm I don't think that will long-term be the play, but right now that's the play.
Plus it's a nice little, I'm sure it's a lot of fun. Like, you guys are all loaded. It can't, I mean, obviously with some of the things that you told me about, there's trickiness and like going on tour. That's something I've always wanted to do.
Well,
and
it's stressful too. And you got to make sure your mental and physical are there because you're living in a van with, in this case, 7 men in a 12-seater Mercedes Sprinter van, and then staying in hotel rooms every night. And
that's a lot.
If you're lucky, squeezing in a quick shower every day and eating like shit and running the venues and carrying heavy stuff and sweating. And it can be a lot if you're not like prepared for it or not, not like in the right space mentally or physically for it. So
it's a lot, especially as an independent artist. Cause whenever you were telling me, like whenever I saw about the Chicago show, you and I, or not the Chicago, I keep saying the Chicago show because that's when I did, but the Michael Ways of AG tour. You and I have been we're texting back and forth for a couple of weeks just because I was interested. I wanted to see what was going on, how things were going. And you were telling me about like you guys were loading up in the tour or in the bus, and then you guys were staying in the hotels and it's a lot to coordinate. And even when some shows don't go as well as necessarily you thought they would, it's just the mental side. You have to stay strong with it. Because I coordinated the whole hometown show that we did. It was a success, and I was extremely happy for it. But it was kind of a pain in the ass at some point.
And it's hard, man. Like it's so hard to promote multiple cities at once.
Yes.
Like Danny's headline Nashville. We did a show at Exit Inn years ago, and it's 500 cap, and I think he did like 420, 415, like pretty close to a sellout. And then we've come through Nashville on tour, and he'll do like 70. And that's just what it is. It's way harder to promote. It's when you're promoting, in that case, it was like 25 shows at once in 25 different cities. You're not drilling the same city. You're not putting posters up in that city. You're not telling your friends at coffee. You're out on the road for 30 days and you're hoping people are seeing it on social media and your texts and everything else. So with the Sammy one, we're really happy with where tickets are at. I just got a new update today. Things are looking pretty good. Obviously, that doesn't account for any walk up or last minute purchasers, which is a habit pretty common in the Sammy fan base. So far, we're above our expectations on where tickets are at. So I'm excited for
Awesome.
tour, man. It's gonna be good, and obviously, it's gonna be cold and traveling in the winter.
Oh
It's gonna be
God.
lovely in the Northeast, but yeah, it's gonna be good. And then I fly straight from tour for Christmas to be with Molly's family. So yeah,
Yeah.
just not coming back until after tour, after Christmas.
A lot of traveling. A lot of traveling. Uh,
Yep.
Tickets for St. Louis looking better than they were a couple days ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
expecting.
Growing.
I'm
Yeah.
growing. I'm expecting a smoke, like, because obviously you know how people work. They ain't gonna buy
Yeah.
till
Yeah.
the first 40.
I never. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get it some
I
walk-ons
never
too.
hold it to anything.
This
Yeah.
is this is gonna be. I think this is gonna be a good one, and the rest of the entire tour is gonna be a good one. And
Yeah, man.
I'm extremely happy for all of you guys. Extremely happy for you as well. You just said you're going to see Molly, your fiance. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The man's
Appreciate
a
that.
legend. Is today her birthday?
It is. Yeah.
I saw that
She's
actually.
actually in Portugal for work right now. So
Damn.
she is not here.
Yeah, I gotta DM her, say happy birthday. But
Yeah.
that's awesome, man. I'm happy for you.
Thanks, man.
You're killing the game, man. I mean, it's what you
Appreciate that.
do. You're killing the game one step at a time. Your artists are killing the game one step at a time. This tour is gonna be incredible, and I'm extremely happy for you. And I hope that you stay warm because it's gonna be colder than shit.
Thanks,
But
dude.
dude, it's gonna be great. I don't know where we're at on time right now. I think we're just reaching an hour. But the last thing that I really wanted to talk to you about is obviously you manage all these artists, and a lot of them are hip hop or pop or what have you. But I like you said, you made your own music not long ago, or not a couple years ago. I don't know how well you define as long.
Yeah.
And I saw an interview that you did that you posted on your story. I just swiped up on it. That you kind of told the story of a concept album that you did about a bank heist.
Yeah.
Nick's looking, he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? So he acted like you correct me if I'm wrong. You acted like a guy who was gonna rob a bank, right? And
Yeah.
he posted like things about his album that was like, it was like all the steps leading up to, like, each song was a step
Yeah,
leading up to
basically it
the.
was 10 songs, 10 footsteps leading up to the bank
Oh,
door. But it was through that was like going through past moments, present situation of walking up and then future plans. But then what I did was I created that character on social media and posted like aggressive, aggressive stuff with the goal. My brother's a filmmaker, so we were shooting like kind of like a mini doc in case it happened. But the goal was to try to get like the FBI to kick in the door. And I think we were trying to like create a bank heist or something and then use that as a way to promote, but never happened. So that Facebook page still exists somewhere,
I can just
still a
imagine
profile, but
fucking he's like posted on Facebook, and like people in
yeah.
the neighborhood like, who's this dude like threatening to rob a fucking bank?
I would comment on random people's like wall at the time when you used to comment on people's walls. I used to comment on people's walls like weird, sketchy shit like that, and just trying to like ruffle. I'd message friends of mine and be like, hey man, do you know where I could buy, and like put some sketchy shit in there, and then they like as a joke they would know what it was and they would screenshot it and then post it on theirs, like what the fuck is going on, like all this stuff to try to like build this weird thing. But yeah, guerrilla marketing, man,
I,
at its finest.
yeah, that's like the funniest. Like, I've heard like concept albums, like because I've made a few, but I've never gone like, let me pose as and people pose as characters. That's not something
Yeah,
I haven't heard. Like Tyler, the Creator, he dresses up as the Igor character. He's got the wig.
right.
He's got the whatever. But like the bank heist thing, like I was watching you tell that story. I was like, this is the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life.
And that was before like short form content. I think that may have
Yeah.
gone off if it was during short form, but it was just literally like it wasn't like a character in that I was like dressing up. It was just like I made a fake social media account and was trying to like create tension.
Hey, It's in some cases controversy sells, as you know. Jake Paul, that's kind of his whole thing, and
Yeah.
it works. But like I was watching that interview, and I was like, whenever I was watching, I was like, I never even knew you made music to begin with. And
Yeah.
I was just on like TikTok, and it was like your For You page, and you did a duet with Danny, just bars, dude, bars, straight bars. So
Thanks, bro. Yeah, that was he didn't even ask me to. I actually surprised him with that, but I was like, oh,
dude,
I'll show it.
I was stunned. I was like, this guy's got bars. So
Thanks, dude.
last question I'll ask you, and then we'll wrap it up here. Like I said, you obviously you manage all these music or artists, but you made your own. If you can, who is your favorite music artist that is not signed to Anovo?
Oh God, Anderson .Paak.
That's a damn good pick. That's a damn good pick. And then favorite, I won't say song because obviously it's tricky. What is your favorite album of all time?
Illmatic by Nas.
That's a damn good pick too. And then, what do you think is do you listen to a bunch of music on your own free time that comes out?
Less than I should.
Less
Than I should.
So if I ask you this question, I wonder if you could pick it. Favorite album of the year thus far?
You're gonna. I think it was this year. King's Disease 3 by Nas.
Yeah, because King's Disease 2 came out last year. Yeah, so you're a big Nas guy?
Yeah. I grew up in New York. But
true.
I'm not a big, like, I don't listen to a lot of like newer hip hop stuff.
Yeah.
But I the problem is like I'm in music so much that by the time I get off, like I go home, I like the last thing I want to do is like listen to music or go to a concert.
Yeah.
You know, so it's as trivial as that sounds, it's just kind of what it is.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it. All right, man. That's pretty much all I wanted to do. This is a great conversation. I appreciate you for coming on.
Yeah.
And I'll
appreciate
see you
y'all having me.
Yeah, of course. We'll connect, and I'll see you on Sunday, and gonna be a great show, and it's gonna be a great tour again. I'll say it one more time because it's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna shove it down these people's throats. Go down the link in the bio. For God's sakes, click the link, buy tickets to the tour, not just the St. Louis show, but to every fucking
For God's
show.
sake.
For God's sake. For good Lord's sake. So that's pretty much it, man. I hope everybody had a fantastic Thanksgiving holidays. Obviously, we didn't record an episode over the holidays because we didn't. That's the last thing I wanted to do is fucking force a podcast on your throat while you're eating Thanksgiving turkey. But besides that, this has been Forever Talking, and we talk nothing forever. My co-host Nicholas and friend of my buddy Sam Saideman, CEO, owner of Anovo Marketing. Get yourself some tour tickets. Sam, it was a great conversation, and I'll connect with you later in the week. All right?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, of course, man. All right, we're gonna end this one, and have a good one, everybody.